Today, all currencies are fiat. All currencies are backed by their bankrupt and corrupt governments' promise to eventually pay back. The monetary system is a mess. It's a lie. It's just a fake scheme that allows them to assume control over the population. Currencies are trading on foreign exchange markets, constantly fluctuating. This can be used as a weapon in this currency war. Time and time again, governments and corporations have been caught wrongfully manipulating the system, and yet it still goes on as if nothing has happened. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Let's look at the world's most volatile currency. Take a guess who you think it is. Currencies are very important to look at because it's multifaceted. We are looking at currencies being a method of payment locally in those countries, as well as the fact that individuals can purchase goods and services from different countries, leading them to need to exchange those currencies. Obviously, there's profit to be made along the way. But what if one country wanted to have a little bit of an impact on another country? They can do so by either purchasing large amounts of that country's dollar-denominated debt, for example, in China and the US, and they could sell that dollar-denominated debt. This is something that goes on all the time. They could manipulate the prices of any particular currency at any given time. This is a currency war. It's going on right now. It's not some sort of silly conspiracy theory. It's just status quo, business as usual. To the degree of which, though, that's what changes. Sometimes it is full bore, straight ahead, full throttle. And other times it's a little bit more laid back. So let's get into it a little bit more here. We're looking right now at a time when risk appetite is essentially at what I would call a peak. Let's look at this. During the dot-com boom, we can see this over the 1.0 marker here. And then you look at financial crisis here again, and today we are there again. What I would say is that, and I've said it probably 500 times at least, we are at the financial crisis part 2. The problems we had during the financial crisis were never solved, and here we are in the part 2 of that same crisis. You're looking at the, probably maybe at least several hundred indicators that I've shown you here on the channel. This is yet another one, risk appetite. Now, what I would see is that individuals, as they, and this is done, of course, intentionally, as they see less and less opportunity in the quote-unquote safer investments, all paper, of course, they tend to look for more risk because they want more return. That's ultimately the way it works. You go for junk bonds because they pay a higher return than, let's say, a Germany's 30-year bond or 10-year bond or something. So you go ahead and choose something a little bit more risky, maybe corporate bonds or maybe, bonds from other countries which are not exactly seen as stable, or maybe you want to pick up some stock that's not exactly, maybe a small cap stock or something. And there's more risk, potentially more reward. I get it. And I'm sure you do too. That's what's happening right now. Unfortunately, it has gone overboard, I do believe. And we are seeing that this ability to accept risk continues to increase, and that is something very dangerous. You should never have that. That should always be low. We should be playing it safe. Lira, by the way, just how do you play it safe? With true diversity. That means not paper investments, having a mutual fund and considering that somehow safe because that's diversified. Anyway, Lira turbulence. All right, so we're going to show you two charts here. Turkish currency replaces South Africa's rand as the world's most volatile currency. All right, so you're seeing it right here. The Turkish lira, number one for volatility. Then you look at the South Africa, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, and Russia, all having quite volatile currencies very recently. And you'll see that this is something that changes regularly and rapidly. In the next chart, a different way to show it, maybe a little bit more difficult to see on your screen here. But essentially, what you're looking at is from the second half of 2015 or a little bit later than that. Look at this red line. You'll see the Turkish currency. You will see the ruble in this case. Might be a little hard to see. Sort of declining here. The Russian ruble. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that these currencies are always fluctuating. What they are today is not what they are tomorrow. And then also factor in when countries are doing trade in between each other, they sort of have to anticipate the value of those currencies over time. So let's say they make a deal. Okay, you're going to pay me $1 million for your oil once a month, $1 million worth, and they make this deal for the next 3 years. This is what it's going to be. But it's hard because they're exchanging that currency into US dollars and then purchasing the actual real goods. And they do so with the hope that their currencies will be worth the same that they were when they made that deal. Unfortunately, it's not the way it is, and things change over time. So it's important to really realize this, how the foreign exchange markets are volatile, and that brings in more volatility. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's self-feeding because traders profit off of volatility. I mean, that's where the business is at. It's not instability, it's in volatility. All right, let's quickly move on here as you look at something else. What they are suggesting, this is at a zero hedge here, that in fact, if you think of Bitcoin as another currency, you can say that it is even more volatile, with the low at 14, the high at 93, and this is volume. Whereas, the low of 6 and a high of 21, it looks like. And you could just see the charts anyway, up and down and up and down. If you're investing in anything, whether that's Bitcoin or, other various currencies, it's very crucial to never, as they say, never put all of your eggs into one basket. I mean, it's not sound investment advice. You may do that, and that's fine. I think you should do whatever you feel is best. But for sound investment advice, it's important to spread around what you have. Even if all you had was $10, well, then you better be putting it into 10 different things, $1 each. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but that's simply the way it goes. I know many people who contact me, they don't have much. It's not like, there's millionaires out there looking for advice. It's individuals who are really trying to prepare, and I realize that. But never try to, get on the bandwagon, be smart about things, spread your money around, and have that good base. Because what we're about to face is unfortunately something very detrimental, and those who are best prepared will do the best. I want to talk about manipulation. I want to talk about currencies, interest rates, and everything else. And one of the things that rings true to me is Libor. What Libor is actually the first part about that. It's a lie. London Interbank Offered Rate, or Libor. There was a scandal a few years ago. I'm sure you followed it. Beginning in 2012, an international investigation into Libor revealed a widespread plot by multiple banks, Deutsche Bank, Barclays, UBS, Rabobank, and the Royal Bank of Scotland, to manipulate interest rates. Okay, this is not me saying this, okay? Remember that. This is right from the CFR's website of all people. To manipulate interest rates for profit, starting as far back as 2003, that they can prove, but of course it's from the beginning of time. Investigations continue to implicate major institutions, exposing them to lawsuits and shaking trust in the global financial system. Interest rates, stock markets, foreign exchange, bond markets, and every other market are fake. They just happen to figure out that the Libor was being manipulated. But I assure you, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that all of the rest of them are the same situation. I mean, come on. And this came out, and they get a little bit of this, this slap on the wrist. They burn a few people along the way. So what? It's happening today still. I mean, that's the whole system. It runs off of fraud. It's not going to be able to change. That's what worries me about it. If you don't know about Libor, I definitely suggest reading into it. It's important because it shows you what that little tiny piece of information that comes out. Imagine what else we don't know. And then you see a more recent information. A trio of former City of London traders have been charged by American prosecutors as part of a long-running probe into the rigging of a $5.3 trillion a day foreign exchange market. There they are. So, these three individuals, they always do this. They burn some low-level people to make them think that, look, it's being taken care of, don't worry. And I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't believe that it's ever the low guys on the totem pole that have power, that have the ability to do this. It's always the high-level people who are giving the orders, and it's just the way it goes. Maybe it's done in a smart way where the high-level people can never get tracked or mentioned or anything else. But there we have it. It's just goes to show you how powerful the people at the top really are. And the scams and the schemes are going on today. They'll continue to go on tomorrow. And ultimately, if we're not going to be able to stop it in its tracks, we should be able to at least, maybe if not profit from it, at least do well. Don't be a victim when this all comes tumbling down. And just a little bit of fun at the end here. Sad, but fun. Fish on a treadmill, you heard that right, $1.5 million worth. What you're seeing here at the bottom is, in fact, what I just said. Believe it or not, that is a fish on a treadmill, and it's real. It's ridiculous. They did a study basically to see, how these fish would react to going on the treadmill, and they did a study finding that they required more oxygen ultimately, and so on and so forth. As far as I'm concerned, it's $1.5 million wasted, and this is called Wastebook. I'll leave the link here in the description. It's the actual PDF of it all. The government wastes so much money. This is just one example of that. There's so many more in here. I just thought this was hilarious. But at the same time, imagine what your city could have done with $1.5 million. You can do so much good with that. But unfortunately, it's just squandered every single day of the week. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see Janet Yellen in a hot tub, give me a thumbs down. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you'll find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. I've taken this complicated subject of finance, of the markets, and I've made it really simple. And the best way that I've done that is using these charts and even more so the diagrams that I've drawn up for this book. So check it out. You can actually flip through the book over at Amazon, where they have a look inside feature that will basically allow you to flip through it. Take care.